hello everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. Um, haven't had this set up in a little bit. Yeah, let me know if you're able to hear me and see me, and we will go ahead and start talking about some updates on the Greatbassoon. I will just wait until I've got confirmation that everybody is able to see and hear. All right. Does not look like I'm getting any response, so I'm going to check my audio settings really quickly. Test, test. Yeah, audio looks like it's coming through. Check something here. Oh, where did that go? All right. Well, hopefully everybody can is able to see me and to hear me. Again, let me know though if you are not able to. And my comments window has completely disappeared. Good. Okay. Let me go and grab something really quickly because my comment window has gone away on this device, so it looks like I'll have to read comments on my cell phone. I'll be right back. Okay, this is going to be, I guess, a little makeshift. Um, I'm going to actually, okay, I can see your comments all now on um, on nope, on my iPhone. So this is going to be all sorts of fun, and I've got to go through all the ads on my iPhone. So I guess I'll get the revenue for that. Lovely. Um, so first, I want to say to everybody, thank you all for the very kind comments and wonderful reception I've gotten uh, from the premiere of Symphony 2 last week. Um, God, that was a huge, huge undertaking. I've already had people ask me if I'm going to do something similar again. The answer is probably not anytime soon, because that took 16 months to put that together, and it's a lot of work. And I'd like to spend my creative energy working on the next composition. I still got to decide what that's going to be. Um, the other thing is, I did have some minor surgery earlier this week, which is why I'm going to sound a little less energetic than normal. I had my gallbladder removed on Monday. It's now Saturday, or is it Friday? I can't even remember what day it is. But yeah, so I've just been recuperating from that. I am completely exhausted on that. But yeah, so updates on the Greatbassoon. I've not posted anything on it since Unmut with Richard. Um, and a lot of that is because there hasn't been a lot to update on, because it's all been technical and behind the scenes stuff, and the vast majority of it has to do with upgrading and updating my 3D printer. If you hear some whirring in the background, that is the 3D printer. It is, I'm just almost touching it. I've got it just about 3 feet to the right of me. It's printing away at the upper wing joint right now, at least part of it. I spent a good amount of time, several $100s, upgrading the machine, only to find out, I was having some problems with layer adhesion. And it first started to be noticed on the middle wing, middle joint of the base joint, which I've had for quite a while now. But after a while, I started noticing this is really bad. The layers are not sticking together. It's fragile. I am surprised that it has held together as well as it has. So that probably first reared its head in April, and I've been working up until a couple weeks ago on the solution on how to fix it. And that involved completely rebuilding the printer. Well, and in the process, the printer is a lot better than it was. I put in a direct drive system, a new hot end, so everything is much better. It prints considerably better. But it turns out that the culprit was this. It was a bad roll of filament. And yeah, so this filament, and not just this roll, but every roll I've had of this stuff since the first couple prints off of it has been bad. This is the Overture Matte PLA, and I love the color of it, but it just would not print. And I finally sat down and test printed a Benchy with just a regular black PLA. And this is one of the best looking prints I've ever done. With the same stuff in the matte tan, it crumbled in my hand. So it was the filament all along. So several $100 later, I have a better working machine, but I also know that I can't use that filament anymore, which is a shame because I love the color and I cannot find anything else that is close to that color. So that means that I'm having to start all over on the print. None of the parts can be salvaged because I am having to change what the filament is, which means changing the color. So yeah, it's going to be a while, but it does mean that Jared and I can do some design changes. And Jared is here, and we've talked a little bit about it. We do need to sit down and do a design session. Maybe if he's available later tonight, we can do it. Then the other thing is, I was just out in my garage 30 minutes ago. I have a new workbench that I was assembling in order to house my new lathe. I got the lathe probably back in March, and I have not even taken it out of the box yet because I didn't have a place to put it. Well, I finally got a workbench, and I went out to start assembling the workbench, and it's like 106 degrees outside. And that's like the actual humidity index, and it's just unbearable. I could stay out there about 10 minutes before getting soaked, and it was not a good call coming off of surgery. I got like a little bit of it put together, and I'll get to the rest, and I'm just completely exhausted from just trying to put together a workbench. So that'll take a bit once I've got a little more energy there. But yeah, so I've got, with the new stuff, I have started printing a new bell. So I have two parts of the bell here. This is what the color is going to look like. It's called clay. That's the name of the color. This is a material I've not used before. This is called PLA Plus. It is a PLA with additives in it that prints so much better than regular PLA. It's prints like PLA, but has a lot of the properties of ABS. And the biggest advantage so far is that the overhangs for where the posts are absolutely gorgeous. I could not get this kind of detail with the regular PLA. And so PLA Plus is going to be my new go-to. It is just a much better product. It prints slower. You do have to slow down your print speed on it. So it will take longer to print apart. This part here just came off the printer a little over an hour ago, and it took almost 30 hours to print this. And I've done quite a bit of post-processing and sanding down. I still got to do a little more. But we're going to have one more section on here, and should be all good to go on the bell. There's not going to be, well, there's going to be one change to the bell, and we're just going to put a logo on the upper joint, which is why I have not printed it yet. We're just going to have the word Greatbassoon go around like 90 degrees. And just have it in a real kind of classy font and make it look nice, have a little bit of branding on there. And that should work quite well. And put that in, I'll fill it in with crayon. And once everything's done, I'm going to do a French polish on this to coat it in shellac and smooth out everything, have it look really nice, and should seal up everything beautifully. And that's the bell. There won't be any changes. Hopefully I'll even be able to use some of the same key work and parts off of here. And the other thing is this should be lighter. I'm doing it with less infill. One of the things is the belt on here is quite heavy. I don't like how top heavy it is, and so I'm trying to reduce some of the weight. But the other thing is going to be, the next thing is Jared and I will do a real quick session, do a couple minor revisions on the bass joint. The most noticeable change will be the removal of the alternate keys for low C and D. We decided it's too complex of a system. These are the low C and D keys for the right thumb. Too complicated of a system, it'll be very difficult to maintain, and it's a lot of work for very little benefit. And we'll just stick with the standard key arrangement. It'll save some time. I won't have to build those keys. Let me know, by the way, if I am coming through. I have not gotten a comment in the chat in just a little bit. Okay, there's instrumental. Yeah, you're working on a piece for band. I would stick to absolutely standard instrumentation for the level you're at. I would not start using any auxiliary or non-standard instruments. I think that's going to be the best course of action for the stage of development you're at in your composition career. Using the auxiliary instruments is a much more advanced level. So yeah, bass joint will have some stuff deleted off of it. Otherwise, it will remain the same. Oh, and this post system here will get rotated around a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and disassemble, take the old bell off, take the bass joint off, and we'll talk a little bit about the wing joint. So the wing joint has probably had the most revisions since the last update. So here I have, this is the new wing joint. This is hopefully close to final version. This is in the new PLA Plus. And it is looking really, really nice. I have not put any key work on here because I'm going to do a lot more post-processing, sanding, cleaning up. But it's going to have a fairly simple mechanism. This will only have keys here. So I'll have on the front side the C-sharp thumb key. And then over here, there will be the second finger and the E-flat key are going to be on the same rod. And it's going to have a pinned mechanism. So go from here to here, and then the third finger will be on a separate rod. So there's only going to be a handful of actual moving parts on here, and with the pinned mechanism, that will use the same rod for both the second finger and the E-flat key. That'll make things very, very simple on here. One of the biggest changes, and I've got 4 different iterations of the wing joint here to show, is the position of the first finger tone hole. So on the very earliest design, the first finger tone hole, which is right here, this is an early prototype, was flat against the body, which would be fine. But what happened is it really made for a very awkward position on the first finger. So Jared and I decided we would put it on a riser. So this is the second iteration, and we can see here there is a riser here that the first finger will rest on, and it brings out the finger a little bit away from the body. It means we had to, by extending the tone hole, we had to raise it up on the instrument a little bit. So bring it out 5 millimeters, had to go up 15. And that worked pretty well. But we decided that we wanted to extend that into basically a full riser so it looks like the wing joint. And this will be basically a plateau for the keys to rest on. And this is the wing joint that I took with me to Unmut. You can see it still has the electrical tape that we put on at Unmut last month. And it works okay. But even with this, we discovered this is still not as perfectly comfortable as we want. So what we did is we angled it. And so on the newest one, it's going to be very difficult to see comparison here, but the tone hole here is brought in just a little bit, and it's angled over. Is it even a bassoon if there aren't tone holes or risers on weird angles? Yeah, it can be. Contrabassoon does not, except for a couple places, does not have those weird angles. I honestly think that the weird angles on bassoon keywork are an artifact of, man, it's good enough. I think if we were to design a bassoon from scratch and put the tone holes in the correct positions, we would not hear that much of a tonal difference between a bassoon with acoustically correct tone holes and one with angled tone holes. That said, I would love to be proven wrong there. The problem is no one has really ever done a bassoon with acoustically correct tone holes. It would be a great physics experiment, though. So, with the tone hole now brought in, the first finger lies incredibly comfortably, and people with smaller hands will be able to play this much easier. So I'll kind of show you by putting a little bit of an assembly back together. So what we've got here is really comfortable. I've got a lot of space in the palm of my hand. In early prototypes, well, not even early prototypes, in mid prototypes, the stretch here was so big that I couldn't even get my hand around the instrument. And now it is as comfortable as playing regular bassoon. And it's moving it just that slight couple millimeters to go from a finger position that's almost straight out to a finger position that's a little bit more curved. And it's now very comfortable. I can hold this instrument just like this, and this is really nice. It's evenly balanced. So yeah, that is a huge quality of life improvement for the instrument. That is very welcome. The next thing that will get redesigned is going to be the upper wing joint. This is only going to be redesigned in a couple very simple ways. This is going to be split off, so this little band here will become a separate piece. That'll get printed in a wood color, so that'll be a different color. And we'll have a little joint right here so that the upper part can come off just for cleaning and maintenance, or perhaps this upper joint needs to get changed out, and it may be that we could change out that upper joint for different tonal characteristics. Maybe you want a pure cone, maybe you want more of a parabola in there. And that'll be fastened on, hopefully with a kind of bracket that'll go over both of them. So it'll be, while it will be corked on, it will be immovable. Do you think the key work on the rest of the joints will help counterbalance the heavy bell? Yes, probably so. But it's just that the center of gravity right now is very high. Once key work will get put on the boot joint, that will alleviate some things. And boot joint design is going to be a big, long design session between Jared and myself. I figure it will probably take 5 to 7 total design sessions to incorporate everything into the boot joint. I have decided to eliminate some of the extra keys, like front B flat, thumb A flat. Those will not be there, though C sharp trill key and thumb E flat will, only because those are going to be very easy to add on. It won't add much. The C sharp trill key will actually be super easy to put on. It's just going to be moving a post down, and that's all that'll be. But yeah, so that's an update on it. The next part of the wing joint will come off the printer here. It's 25% done, so it's got another 6 hours to go, roughly. So it'll probably be done about by the time I go to bed. And it's possible I will get some of the new filament in today, and I can print some of the other parts. But yeah, so let me know if you guys have any questions. That's kind of where it stands right now. Like I said, Most of the delay was because it was simply waiting for the machine to get rebuilt. And of course that turned out to be bad filament. But yeah, let me know again if you have any questions about the Greatbassoon or about even recording Symphony 3, or Symphony 2, God, we're not going to do Symphony 3. By the way, the next update for Symphony 2 will be, I am working on a brand new engraving of the piece that will incorporate all the changes and corrections that were made during the recording process. So I guess emboss doesn't work on sloped or curved surfaces. Really? Okay. We'll talk about that in the Discord server, Jerry. So, there's got to be a way to do it. A flat riser, at least in that spot. Okay, so looks like we're not going to be able to get the logo on there. Dang it. I was looking forward to that. Yeah, we may have to get creative on that. And maybe it just won't have one. Or maybe we do a horizontal. I'm not a fan of the horizontal logo. That would look kind of weird. Maybe we could send it over to Richard and he could do it in Inventor. But that's a shame. That was going to be a nice feature, but I guess it means that what I can do then is I can just go ahead and put the third part of the bell on the printer later tonight and have it ready Monday. Which means I'll have a new bell at least. All right. So if nobody else has any other questions, I'll go ahead and end for today. And then Jared, I'll run some stuff by you in Discord. But thanks everybody for watching. Once I've got more reprinted and updated, I'll do another one of these. Hopefully by next week or so, I should have everything from everything except the boot completely redone. So, until next time, thank you guys.